This is the Shawn Yankey Show.
And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
Today, we've had a national tragedy. 2 airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack.
This episode of the Shawn Yankey Show is being brought to you by the support of viewers like me. We realize the importance of independent media and truth in this time of mass deceit and propaganda. We have decided to fight for and support it to keep it alive. You can help us in this fight for truth. Contribute at patreon.com/Shawn Yankey. Thanks for coming to the show. It'll begin soon.
Hey, everybody, get in here. It is time once again for the Shawn Yankey Show. I am Shawn, and this is the Shawn Yankey Show. So you are in the right place at the right time, no matter where you're at. Right now, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So we have a lot to get into tonight, like a Kroger in Virginia getting caught administering saline shots in place of COVID-19 vaccines. We're shooting people up with saline and they got busted for it. We're going to get into that. Joe Biden still hasn't spoken to reporters, and it seems that he is being protected from speaking to anyone. And we're all rich, or so the media is making it out. And we're going to be showered with $1,400 very soon. And every stuffed suit reporter is acting like we all hit the lottery instead of being robbed blind. And we're going to get into all of this and more tonight on the Shawn Yankey Show. Plus, it's Wednesday night, so it's time again for conspiracy theories and chill. So thanks for coming to the show. Please like and share this out. Please support the show any way you can. And sharing and liking and commenting, interacting, all of that really does help. But let me explain what this is for anyone who might be new. This might be your first time at the Shawn Yankey Show. If so, welcome. Even if you're here after the live, more than half of our views come after the live. And even though this is a discussion-driven chat show, we have a conversation is what we do based off the comment section. Even if you're here late, which you can't be late. But even if you're here later on, still comment, take part in the show, take part in the discussion, interact. We love hearing from you. I love hearing from you. And it really helps us get out in the algorithm. It makes the computer that watches everything and suppresses the shit out of us think that something entertaining is going on and it needs to show it to more people. But let me go say hi to everyone who's here and get us going. Because like I said, this show feeds off the comment section. The comment section is really the backbone of this show and everything that we do. So let's see. Lolly got first. Hey, Lolly. Helen the Felon is here. I love seeing y'all back on YouTube. Helen the Felon can only watch us on YouTube. Helen is banned from Facebook, can't be on Facebook. You know, we have a couple people we know like that just can't stay out of trouble on Facebook. Zuckerbuck just does not like them. You know, and the hell with Zuckerbuck. Come to Gab. Come hang out with me on Gab.com and check out our channel on Gab TV and support us. Free speech platform does not censor. And I don't even have a stonk in it. You know, I'm just telling you, I really like it and enjoy it. And I'd love to see you over there enjoying some free speech with me and Paul Jones, my partner on the Morning Yank. Hey, Lee. Lee's here. Samuel, good to see you. Hey, Danon. Comments are kind of acting weird for me. Nicole's here. Rose, Lisa, Joan, how are you? Brent's here. Hey, Carrie, Ro, Heath, Lisa. Oh, hey, I got you twice, Lisa. Hey, Marie. Hey, Dale. Maybe there's two Lisas. Hey, Terry. Terry's here. Mark's here. Oh, Riley's here. Riley is another person that cannot stay out of trouble on Facebook. Interesting story. She's also the silent truther. She's famous around here. But okay, cool. So a lot of people are here. We can get started. But like I said, even if you're here on Twitch, make sure to comment, take part in the show, because we will be involving your comments and bringing the audience into the discussion. We always do. This is always a comment-driven show. But Riley likes VK. I liked VK, but it's the Russian one. It's a Russian social media app, and I just like Gab better. I'm sorry. You know, we all have our preferences. VK is another option, though. Lee is watching us on all three platforms. Now, you want to talk about a hero? Hashtag hero, Lee Houston. You know, our Gab TV channel has 2 likes on every video. One of them's me. One of them's my man, Lee Houston. Lee Houston is a super fan. I really do appreciate that, by the way, brother. And any support of these shows. This is my calling. This is what I love to do. And if you want to help us continue to do this and continue to grow, please become a supporter of the show. There are many ways to do so in the description, one of which is to become a patron on Patreon. You can do that at patreon.com/Shawn Yankey, and you can help us to be able to reach our goal of streaming to the website. Even $1 a month, everything helps, anything at all. But we have cool t-shirts. We have other ways to donate, all kinds of stuff. Please support us if you can. But that's enough commercial. Let's get on with the show. But there's some things I want to show you before we start Conspiracy Theories and Chill. Dana asked what's on deck for Conspiracy Theories and Chill tonight. I have something interesting in mind for tonight. A year ago, can you believe it's been a year? It feels like it's been 2, but a year ago, I made a video at the very beginning of the scandemic of what I thought was going to become of it, what I thought was going to happen. We're going to watch that, see how it's aged, how it holds up a year later, how close I came, and then we're going to talk about some other things. You know, now that we're a year in, I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen next. So we're going to get into all that tonight for Conspiracy Theories and Chill. But before that, I wanted to go through a few things and talk about them with you guys, the things that we talked about in the very beginning, the intro. There's a few news stories I wanted to look at with you, and I'm going to take you over with me to look at them. So this Kroger in Chesterfield, Virginia, got caught administering saline shots instead of COVID vaccines. They won't even say how many people they administered the saline shot to. They just say it was a small amount. In the statement to the news, the company says it was an honest mistake. Yeah, I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was. And they went on to say that all impacted customers were contacted and have now received the actual COVID vaccine. And they apologize for this oversight and the inconvenience caused to these customers. Yeah, I'm sure they do. But look, this is just where they got caught doing this. You think this is the only place doing it? You know what? Good. I say if you get a saline shot, you dodged a bullet. You know what I mean? But they're doing this everywhere, of course. course they are. They just got caught here. This story made it to the news. This isn't even national news. This won't get coverage. Shooting them up with saline. I just thought that was very interesting. And then, did you guys see this? Biden did a public appearance. By the way, he has not spoken to the press, had a press conference since he's taken office, taking questions from the media since taking office. That's very, very, very strange. But he made a public appearance at a hardware store, and his handlers would not let him speak to anyone. They were rushing him out the door from the moment he walked in it, and he looked lost. I think they are making sure that he doesn't talk. They don't want him to speak to anyone, not just reporters, anyone. They don't even want to have to take him out in public. Matter of fact, they're probably in love with the fact that he's now wearing 2 masks, so that if he does talk, there's a good chance no one will hear what he mumbles. They don't want anybody to hear anything that Joe Biden has to say. Joe Biden can't string a sentence together. And shit, he might accidentally say something he's not supposed to. And then there's this. So they've passed it. You know, now all that's got to happen is Biden's got to sign it. And we'll be rich, you know, if you believe. What paper was it? Someone tell me. I can't see you right now, but correct me if I'm wrong, but it was a major newspaper was acting like Biden had ended poverty with this $1,400. This was going to solve every problem in the world. This is not going to make a big difference for anybody, no more than the $1,800 that you got from President Trump. But again, it is a fucking heist. And this thing couples with HR 1. HR 1 and this COVID relief go hand in hand in the Dems' big vote buying bonanza. They're rigging up future elections. They're buying off all kinds of different groups. There's all kinds of hidden money in this thing. It's unreal. Not even half of it goes to the American people. This is not a relief bill in the first place. None of them were. I'm not saying that Trump's weren't heists as well. They were. But this one, they're acting like Biden has ended all of our problems, solved every issue. You know, Kamala is the one taking phone calls with foreign leaders. She's now taken another solo call with a foreign leader. I'm sure being treated as the president. Joan says that Jill did a press conference yesterday. Yeah. How many press conferences did Melania do? I don't remember. How many times did she speak for President Trump? I forgot. I don't think it was ever. Maybe when they talked to Oprah, did they do an interview with Oprah? It was Barbara Walters when they were sitting on those gold thrones. Lisa says, why was there even saline in the syringe? I've said it all along. Because this is something they probably always do. You know how they're always wanting to give you a free flu shot too? That shit's just to get you in the door. They don't give a shit. It's probably 50% saline, 50% vaccine. And they don't care. And they report it, of course, report it to the vaccine company that they gave you the shot because they get bonuses for how many of those they give away. Yeah, they dodged the bullet. You found out that you missed out. You found out, okay, you didn't get the vaccine. Instead of going, wow, cool, all right, I get a second chance at this shit, you take another run right up to the Kroger and let them shoot you up again. You know, something else I saw that was interesting is they changed the definition of vaccine so that it would include this new mRNA jab because it didn't fit into the definition of a vaccine. I thought that was interesting. Words. Trying to catch up with Leo. Who is Paul? Your boy Joe? He is. He's hiding Biden. That's what he is. No, they're hiding him. They're protecting him. They don't want him out in public. That's the last thing that they want. But we all know that things are bad and heading for worse. And we've been in their new normal now for over a year. And at the very beginning of this whole scamdemic, I made a short video predicting how all of this would end up going based on what I'd seen so far that early on. And I thought now that it's been a year, we should watch it together and see not only how it holds up, but how well I was able to predict what was going to be in store for us. Yeah, I mean, there was literally nothing to scale this against, and information was scarce then. So I'm actually really curious to even see what's in the video. I didn't watch it. I stumbled upon it in my memories over on YouTube. I was looking through the old channel, and I stumbled upon it, and I remember getting pretty close though to what actually happened. But let's find out. This video is called "We're Never Going Back to Normal." And sadly, I don't think that we are. I still don't. I guess I didn't then, and I still don't. This was never about anything with less than a 3% fatality rate. It was never about protecting your grandma. You know, the same grandma that they let choose between food and medication, that grandma, they don't give a second thought at all to you or your grandma. They don't care about us. No, this is never going back. This is never going away. That's my thought. And things are never going to go back to normal, whatever in the hell that even was. And good, because this war that we're in is climaxing, and in the end, we're going to win. So tonight, I want to talk a little bit about our situation. And to start us off, get us talking about it, we're going to watch this video that we made a year ago and see how it compares to what actually took place. So let's check it out. So I don't really remember what's in this. I know that since it's got the copyright disclaimer on the screen, that I obviously have some kind of a video in it. But let's check it out.
It began in healthy-looking pigs, months, perhaps years ago. A new coronavirus spread silently within herds. Gradually, farmers started getting sick. Infected people got a respiratory illness with symptoms ranging from mild flu-like signs to severe pneumonia. The sickest required intensive care. Many died. Experts agree, unless it is quickly controlled, it could lead to a severe pandemic, an outbreak that circles the globe and affects people everywhere.
The mission of the Pandemic Emergency Board is to provide recommendations to deal with the major global challenges arising in response to an unfolding pandemic. The The board is comprised of highly experienced leaders from business, public health, and civil
What
society.
we just watched there in that clip isn't current news, even though it is frighteningly similar to current events. No, what that clip was from is a pandemic tabletop exercise that was held on October 18th of 2019 in New York City called Event 201. That clip was only a minute long, and if I hadn't told you, you'd have thought I pulled that from today's headlines. Well, watch the whole event for yourself, and you'll be terrified at how similar this war game held a month before the outbreak it describes all too closely happens. Hosted by the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security in partnership with the World Economic Forum, and of course, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, this exercise simulated a coronavirus outbreak with eerily similar symptoms and behavior to the one actually unleashed on humanity just 1 month after this pandemic war game took place. Is that a coincidence? Well, I don't personally believe in coincidences anymore. The global elites gathered to play out and prepare for exactly what is happening a month prior to it unfolding. And you can watch all of Event 201 online. It is easily searchable on YouTube and isn't hidden at all. Honestly, some of it is boring and it's very long, but if you stick with it, you're going to find it very frightening, especially if you're awake and aware to reality. This Event 201 was a very elaborate war game complete with fake news clips and science analysis. This means that they took everything into account, including media response in this drill. But there's much more than that here. In the hours of footage, you will see that what is happening right now with COVID-19 is all playing out just as Event 201 projected it to. Not just the symptoms matching or the severity of the virus itself, but the plans that are rolling out in response to the virus as well are all matching up too closely to this war game. Then you add Bill Gates into the equation, and red flags start to be all that you can see here. And we know that there is an agenda to wipe a large portion of us out and to huddle the rest of us into smart cities crammed on top of each other like roaches. They are open about that much, and they have had many gatherings to plan out how they're going to do it. And they put all of this in plain sight and use predictive programming to prepare humanity for what is planned out for us. These predators that lord over humanity are dangerous. And honestly, I'm tired of dancing around that fact. Now, it can't be known at this point how serious this virus will be itself, or how devastating the global and economical effects of it will end up being. But I think it's very clear that we're never going back to normal. This particular article from MIT goes into a little bit of detail on what that might mean at a minimum. But as I read it, I couldn't help but read between the lines here, and let me see if you feel the same way. It starts out by saying that social distancing is here to stay, and that to stop the coronavirus, we will need to radically change almost everything we do: how we work, exercise, socialize, shop, manage our health, educate our kids, and take care of our family members. And we all want things to go back to normal quickly. But what most of us has probably not yet realized, yet will soon, is that things won't go back to normal after a few weeks, or even a few months, and some things never will. Now, this particular article theorizes that this would need to continue at least 18 months, with full shutdowns like what you are seeing now continually going on, 2 months and then 1 month off. Which forces me to ask, how much will people give up in the interest of feeling safer? And how could the economies of the world even handle something like that? How could the economy handle being shut down for 18 months? But reading between the lines of what this article implies is frightening. And it is my belief that things are going to get very bad for us in the near future, and everything is changing. Now, this honestly has been a hard time for me as a conspiracy theorist, because I am seeing everything that we have warned about for all of this time come to a head at the same moment. And honestly, it's difficult to not become the left-leaning Alex Jones and start screaming that the sky is falling. But I don't want to stir people up or cause panic, and I'm not trying to be extreme. I'm just being as honest with you about what I'm seeing unfold as I can. Now, we were at a time when a mass awakening was reaching a climax worldwide, and uprisings were taking place all over the globe. And then a pandemic rolls out and the world goes into complete shutdown. Now, is the New World Order moving into the final stages of their plan? I got to tell you that it is my fear that they are. We have found ourselves in a dystopian nightmare of a reality where truth tellers sit in prison cells or hide in exile from the tyrannical forces that want to silence them for what they've exposed. Truth is buried and propaganda is king. It's everywhere. The average citizen is bombarded with lies on a constant basis and is oblivious to what is really happening in the world by design. And the truth is being actively hidden from them. And anyone that's trying to inform people is being silenced by corporations who now control all platforms for sharing information. The whole world is currently shut down right now over COVID-19, and economies all over the globe will crumble because of that. And who will suffer? The people. That's who. We will suffer. Minimal. At the bare minimum, we are heading for a depression. Now, I, like many of you, are already feeling the effects. And as unemployment climbs and our leaders fight back against the crisis by printing out tons of money and then distributing it amongst the upper 1% while they throw down table scraps to the people, I can't help but say what this all looks like. It looks a whole lot like the elite are cashing out as the rug is pulled out from under the people. Minimal. Now, they just pulled off the biggest theft in human history and called it a stimulus package. They robbed us blind is what happened, and we are heading for financial disaster as they walk away with our money. But I think it's far worse than just that. I think we are witnessing the end game of the globalists, and that they have been conditioning the people for what's coming for quite some time. Now, I said all along that I believed Andrew Yang's whole presidential candidacy was a sham just to sell the American people on the concept of UBI. He was nothing more than a pitchman for universal basic income, and they used him to sell it and then gauge the public's response to it. Andrew Yang never thought in his wildest dreams he'd be president. He was a con artist, a wolf in sheep's clothing who was there only to sell the concept of UBI to the people. And now they're rolling it out in small chunks. They aren't calling it that yet, but they are getting people used to it as they falsely soothe them through their lying-ass media propaganda machine that this economy can survive this crisis. But it can't, and they know that it can't. And they've played this scenario all the way out in Event 201 and have figured out how to best enrich themselves during what they know is the downfall of global capitalism. Now, I could be wrong. I want to be wrong, but I don't think that I am. And honestly, it would be irresponsible either way not to sound the alarms at this point, because I don't know for sure what is coming our way, and I can only theorize about it at this point. But what I do know is the time is now for the people to unite in solidarity and rise up against the tyranny that is holding our society back. These greed-driven predators will never stop until they have it all. That's what they want. And they want to exterminate a large number of us once they get it all. Are we going to let them? Now, I don't care if I'm overreacting and we won't soon be gathered up in FEMA camps under martial law wondering how we all ended up in this mess. We are in a class war. That's a fact. And we have the same enemies in that war. And it is us versus them. For years, skeptics have asked me over and over again who they are. Now, we conspiracy theorists do play the pronoun game quite a bit, but it's through necessity mostly. But regardless, the they is getting ready to be made very clear soon enough. Now, this little video has become more of a rant, and there's a good reason for that. And it's what is happening right now is insanity. What is going on is all so crazy, and to try to comment on it responsibly is very hard, especially since it's all happening with such speed. Now, I have struggled with how to even broach this subject honestly because I believe this is it. I think that this is the moment that we have been warning about for all of this time. This agenda that has been enslaving humanity for thousands of years. I think this is their final power grab. I think we will lose the internet soon for a period of time. Television and radio as well. And when and if it returns, it will be nothing like it was before. the internet especially. Things will go dark for us, and all we will get is official information from the state. Martial law will be enacted, and the country will be shut down. And when society resets, we will be in their new world order. I believe America as we knew it is over. Now, those are my beliefs. Those are my theories. And I've been told that that makes me a fearmonger, or even worse, means that I have no faith that good can overcome evil. And neither of those things are true. I've actually been fighting having this discussion for a long time because I want to be wrong, but I also don't want to be irresponsible and not say what I'm seeing unfold. Others are seeing it as well. It's just we all seem to see it a little bit differently. Now, there are those, the many, who believe it's all for the good of society, and they trust their leaders to ensure that everything will work out. Then there's those that believe as I do, and are saying what I'm attempting to say here, that this is the end of life as we know it, that everything is going to change, and the final blow of the authoritarian state is being dealt. And there are even those that believe through admirable faith that this is all being done to eliminate the evil forces in this world. They admit it's happening, but see good overcoming the evil in the world. The ones I worry about the most, though, are the first group, and we often refer to them as sheep. No matter who's right here, they will be hit the hardest. The majority of people fall into this category, and their entire world is getting ready to change, and we must lead that change. No matter if I'm right or wrong, change is coming either way. And this article is correct. We're never going back to normal. And was this all pre-planned? We may never know the answer to that, but what we do know is they planned out the response to this event and that they will capitalize off of it either way. Problem, reaction, solution. That's their doctrine, and they never let a good crisis go to waste. So whether pre-planned or not, they will use this to their will like they have always done, and this is the time for humanity to move into self-defense mode. Because if not now, when? I, for one, don't want to wait around for those so-called leaders who have never shown that they represent my best interest to decide how to best care for me after they've finished milking society dry. And this pandemic could very well be a plandemic, but either way, we are facing a crisis as a united people, and no matter what happens in these coming months, we must unite against evil, greed, and corruption during it. It is time to fight back, and we are going to go from the black sheep of the family to the leaders of our communities. We must keep people calm and focused on our true enemies during what will be a difficult time for most. People are going to panic. They will be terrified, and the powerful will try to use that fear. We must not let them. We must guide the people. We must focus them towards the real enemies of humanity. It's time to show them who they are, and then teach them how to fight back against them. So keep fighting out there and protect the truth, because it will be the weapon that destroys the evil in the world in the end. And that's why they are fighting so hard to eliminate it. This is our fight, and no hero is coming to save us. We are the ones that we've been waiting for, and it's our time to accept our role. It is the responsibility of the awake to wake the others, and that's what we must do. We must inform and lead them through what is coming, and we must unite as many as we can in the class war that we are inevitably heading towards. So protect yourself in the armor of God and stand with the truth. Lead the sheep and help good to defeat the evil of the world and end the murderous greed of this corrupt society once and for all. Everything is about to change, but it will be up to us how it all turns out. This is ours, not theirs. Remember that, and keep fighting and keep spreading the truth and keep pushing for justice in this unjust world. Because good can win out in the end, but only if we own our destiny and take responsibility for our future. So keep fighting out there, y'all, and we can take this evil cabal down. Thanks for listening. All right. So I made that a year ago, like at the very beginning of the scamdemic. Looks like it was based off of Event 201, and Event 201 seems to have nailed the shit out of what was going to happen. But let me see what you guys thought about that. You know, looking back a year ago, all of that was from a year ago. That's a year ago's information. I just wanted to see how it stood up from the very beginning to now, what we know now. I think it still stands up. And if I'm anything, I'm definitely consistent. I have been saying this and saying it and saying it and saying it. The red flags are everywhere. You can't ignore it anymore. Even Joe Biden superfan Paul Jones can see Riley says that she has a form that my doctor signs in order to give me the injection. If I'm forced, therefore, he will take all liability. I was curious to see how it stood up because I was scrolling through the old channel because, like, as you know, we're in trouble again on our main channel. We can't stream there. We're on 2 strikes. So we're over on our backup channel, Me on Things and Stuff, but we just got out of YouTube jail and probably just got put back in it. So I don't know. But I wanted to see how it stood up. I wanted to see if it still was relevant. And it is. I think historically we're going to be looking back on that video and it's going to stay true even in a year. The only things I didn't get right were they haven't shut us down yet completely. I think that they will eventually shut down the internet, cut off all communication. That's something that you do in a war. We are in a war. We're in a silent war. So our communication will be cut off. We will be cut off from each other. That hadn't happened yet, though. And then I also predicted that they would roll out martial law. It hadn't happened yet either, but there's a lot of evidence still for it. Matter of fact, Tulsi Gabbard outright asked Joe Biden if we were in martial law, if martial law had been declared, because it sure does look like it. But quality of life in the United States is going down rapidly, at a rapid pace. Quality of life is dropping in the United States. And it's not going to turn around. That's another thing that's not going to go back to normal. It's not going to change. You know, there is more money, but there's less people with it. You know, everyone always wants to gauge the economy and how things are off of the stock market and shit like that. These aren't factors to actually let you know what it's like for the average person. You know, the top 1% of 1% enrich themselves by over 30% of their net worth in just the past year with this whole thing. So there's a lot of money. It's just not a lot of people with it. And, you know, it's like I said in the video, it does seem like they're cashing out. You know, they keep talking about their great reset. Now, I don't really know what that's going to end up meaning for something like the US dollar. But Lee was mentioning this earlier. I saw that he had said they have to crash the economy. That is part of the plan. This is a very long-standing plan. Been in place for a very long time. It's all out in the open. Like, I think it was Tammy who asked if I had a crystal ball. No, this was all public information. I'm just a guy. I'm a stand-up comic that can't do comedy and is, you know, wandered into doing a show that lives in Missouri. I'm just a regular guy. This is just a little independent show. As fancy as it may seem, it's just a little independent show. I found all that out on my own. Event 201, public knowledge. Even though it's being erased and Bill Gates is trying to erase his name from it, even though his organization hosted it. He's trying to distance himself from that entire thing and scrub it from history. They probably eventually will. They have control of all information. But even though the quality of life is dropping in the United States, it's not being publicized really. It's not being talked about. And definitely won't be talked about now. That was the big thing about Grandpa Biden being president, And then Tom Fan brought up something interesting on the Morning Yank about how they can spin this into 2 terms of Kamala right after Joe. And that's actually genius, being how neither one of them two are actually president of the United States. The establishment has the reins. Obama is more president of the United States than Joe Biden or Kamala Harris is right now. He's more connected and involved at the top than either one of those two. They're mouthpieces. Either one of them are yes men. Joe can't really say yes anymore. Can't really. He might say yes. He might say something else. He might tell you a story about corn pop or roaches or the hair on his legs. You never know what he's going to say. But Kamala will do whatever you ask of her. Neither one of them are really in charge. They just do what they're told. But all of the signs are also in place that we're getting ready to move into major war in the Middle East, specifically with Iran, but not just Iran. This has been happening for 20-something years. And General Wesley Clark, again, this is public information, came out and said that right after 9/11, he was going through the Pentagon and was called into someone's office, and they showed him a plan for 7 wars, and they planned to do it in 5 years. Now, due to public resistance and a big way, I think, us spreading truth and raising information and helping people to become aware of this shit, they haven't been able to garner the public consent as quickly, and it's taken them a lot longer. But I think it's about to climax. Albert Pike, long time ago, wrote their plan out for 3 world wars. And we have been in World War III for a long time, at least 20 years, if not longer. It's a silent war. It's a different kind of war. It's a psychological war. It's a spiritual war. It's the end game war. This is their final march. I don't like her voice either. I don't like hearing her talk. You are getting ready to get your first female president. It's just a matter of time. A war of the mind. Yeah. And this plan has been in place forever. And look, that video was on the nail, because many of you, me, myself included, have submerged ourselves in exactly this for a very long period of time. However long you've been awake and looking and researching and doing this for yourself, you've known this shit. And once you've known it, you could never unsee it. So now that you're seeing the end game play out, you know how it plays out. It's planned. And the plan is in the open. So there's no crystal ball needed. I knew that was going to come up just based on this conversation. So I'm ready. I'm proud of how ready I am right now to give you the link to this document that Riley's talking about right now. I just put it in the comments everywhere we're at. Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. This document will tell you exactly how they're attacking you silently. Every day, all day, without you knowing it. There's more ways to attack someone than physically. hell, mentally, is probably the most effective way to attack someone. Jessica's right, by the way. It was never Joe. It was never Joe. But so in the video, I also predicted that the United States was going to fall. I don't think any of those predictions were wrong. It just, the final three haven't happened yet. I went silent for a second because I realized we forgot to do something. I don't know if I'm going to do it or not. I think it's too late. Kind of upset with myself. Well, that's because the United States has been at war for most of its history. We are the muscle of the New World Order. We're their army. That's our purpose. That's our function. The silent truther. I feel like I should not read the silent truther's comments. I don't know. I can't decide. But she said the quiet war was declared by the international elite at a meeting held in 1954. They do a lot at these little meetings. Joan says it's never too late. I feel like it is. You know what I did? You know what I didn't do? I forgot to play the intro, the Conspiracy Theories and Chill intro to get us started. You know, the official thing to kick off Conspiracy Theories and Chill night. I forgot. Riley says, give me control over a nation's currency, and I care not who makes its laws. That's a quote from one of the string pullers, one of the owners, true rulers of our world. I do too. I'm going to be really, really sad when they take away the internet. You don't understand. Like, it's going to break my world. It's going to really upset me. But yeah, please read that document. It's not that long. It's 45 pages long. And if you haven't read it, it'll leap off the page at you. It'll take you 15 minutes to read it, I'm sure, because it's a great read and it explains everything that's going on right now. It's clear as a bell once you read it. Aaron says, even if it all deserves to crumble, there are hidden morals and values. We have every right to live our lives to each her own and take care of the lands. Look, we're going to climax in this war soon, and we'll be the leaders at that time. When that happens, it will fall on us to rebuild. Everyone did think Y2K was going to end the internet. I don't think anything's going to end the internet, Ro. I think they're going to turn it off. Just shut it down. Disconnect us. All these neat toys, like what we're playing on right now, where we get to exchange information with each other and communicate, they're going to take all that away. They're all Alphabet controlled anyway. Alphabet agency controlled. The entire internet, all of it. It was weaponized before we ever got a hold of it. That's in Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars too. That's when the zombies will come. Look, I'm just saying, and Paul's right about the warmer weather. The shit's going to hit the fan when the weather gets warmer. We're going to have a hot summer and shit is going to hit the fan. They're already brewing it. They're stirring it in a pot. It's going to have a lot more to do with anything that's going on that we talked about tonight. It's going to be about some BLM type bullshit. Some way they'll rev up the population. They'll get something going. Allow them to put that final boot down. And when that final boot down comes down, it ain't coming back up. Rose says, I don't see that happening. She don't think they'll turn off the internet because they like knowing where we're at. They like that you're carrying around this little convenient tracking device in your pocket. And that's true too. But think of all we've done with it. Oh, yeah, for sure. You know, they're already brewing a riot because no matter what happens in that Derek Chauvin case, we're having a riot over that for sure. And there'll be more. There'll be more instances and false flags and shit media circuses to stir people up. Wait, is Bill Gates here? Has Bill Gates hacked your computers, Jessica? Because Bill Gates wants to block out the sun. Marie says that the guy that invented the internet is inventing a new or remaking a free internet the way that he wanted it to be. Interesting. Paul says CERN zombies is a real thing where the closer peeps get to the high frequency, they act like brain dead zombies. Are you, I never know if you're bullshitting me or not, and that's your own fault. You know, you put yourself in this category where I don't know if I can trust you. You ever seen the video of the little dance that they did for CERN? The official CERN video that they put out with the satanic dancing in it? It's a trip. You should definitely look that up. Lolly's talking about something that'll be a good shit stirrer in the fall. Kyle Rittenhouse's trial. And Carrie mentions that Kyle Rittenhouse is a patriot and we should free Kyle. It's going to be a hot button issue. That's what Lolly's talking about. Hey, Ikik's doing all right. Ikik's right here. He's doing all right. You know, and I'm just sad that we're running out of Ikik. See that? Look at that. We're running out of Ikik already. That's the only bad thing about cannabis. The only bad thing. The more you smoke of it, the less of it you have. That's the only downfall. If they could do something about that, if they could make a vape pen or like a jar of, if my jar could just always be full, every time I crack the top, full instead of empty. It's crazy. But come back Friday, full bowl Friday, my jar will be full. I'll stock up. I get my flowers on Friday. We all have a fantastic show. I don't have a guest for you yet this Friday again. That's 2 weeks in a row. But we're going to do something cool. I don't know yet what, but something cool. But tomorrow night, come back. It's rant night. Thursday nights on the Shawn Yankey show, we rant. I pick out a bunch of topics, anything that's got me pissed off, and we rant about it and then have a conversation and take it from there and vent our frustrations and get ready for Friday. But that's what's coming up. And yes, free Shawn's weed. Our hashtags work. You know, we actually got my weed freed for a little while in the winter. Just a couple weeks ago when it was super, super cold. Babels let me smoke in the house, but now I'm back to outside. Rationing is key. Rationing is key. You sound like my sensei. And speaking of my sensei, my partner, Paul from the Morning Yank, check out the Morning Yank, by the way, Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. It's our morning show. Anyways, a new feature that Paul is going to be doing for our morning show is giving advice. So if there's anything you want to know, any question you have, something you can't ask anyone, anything at all, ask Paul. Send your questions to P.O. Box 162, Middletown, Missouri, 63359. And ask Paul anything you want, and we'll read it live on the Morning Yank, and Paul will answer your questions. That is just a new service that we are offering from the Shawn Yankey Show. And Scandress, of course, why I want to become famous, but I don't want to buy followers and primes and viewers. I just want to be famous. I want to buy that stuff. I just don't have the money to buy that stuff. But you can become a supporter of this show, Scandrels. And whenever you're not trolling, you can become a supporter of this show. You can help us to grow and to be able to do stuff like that, to buy followers and stuff like that. You think Harp is part of CERN? I want to have Jay back on. I don't know if Jay's available this Friday, though. I need to get in touch with Jay. I need to reach out. You know, Jay's who got me started doing these, streaming, at all. And hooked me up with Paul, actually. Introduced me to a lot of people. Me and Jay are tight. We're like peanut butter and jelly. I do need to check in. Yeah, come on, Babels. Let's free Shawn's weed. Let's move it up a notch. But that's what's coming up this week on the Shawn Yankey Show. And I'm kind of stalling a little bit. I'm waiting because I'm going to play this. I'm a baby. I'm a spoiled baby. And I figure we'll talk about anything you want right after this. But I want to play this. I made this. It's fancy, and I never use it right. All right, so now let's pretend that I played that at the beginning of the hour. And we can hang out. Because I also need to ask you guys some stuff. We always pick our topics for conspiracy theories and chill videos with a poll. Well, it's time for a new video. I need to work on a new video. So I need to get a poll up. I want you to tell me what you want to see. Any topic at all that you want to see covered in an original conspiracy theories and chill video, and I will dig into it and we will cover it. So drop it in the comments, and I'm going to put the poll together and get that up so we can pick our next topic and get an original video up for you guys in the next couple of weeks for conspiracy theories and chill. But anything you want to talk about, anything at all, I'm still ready to hang out. That's why I played the little intro, because we can still do some conspiracy theories and chill. I feel like I got everything out that I wanted to talk about tonight about our situation and where I think it's heading. But Paul wants to talk about this for a second. I want to talk about this for a second too. And I'm going to put this on the poll because I want to look into it. Paul has a theory, and it's a very good one, that the New Yorker hotel was actually custom built for Tesla, Nikola Tesla. And it's actually I forgot the name of his tower, but his tower, it's actually an electrical tower for Nikola Tesla and a lab, all custom built for him. Yes, Marie, there is more than one HARP. Someone brought up HARP earlier. Paul, HARP and CERN, he said, were connected. That's interesting. I never thought of that. But yeah, there's more than one. They're everywhere, and they are a grid. You didn't miss the poll, Marie, because I don't have it up yet. I got to get it up. But I am going to get it up after the show. Like, I already see that I have enough. Thank you, by the way, for giving me some topics. There's enough right here already. I'll fill up a poll right after the show, actually, before the watch party. About 10 minutes after the show tonight, and every night, we do a watch party. I like to watch these back to learn from it. And people said they wanted to watch with me. So we do a watch party and hang out and watch the show. So if you want to come to that, come to that. But before that, I'll have it up. I promise this time. I've said that before and didn't do it, but I promise I'm going to do it. Because I see that I've got enough stuff right there. Paul says that they made a movie in 2012 called CERN Zombies. Did they really? You know, the CDC has released a preparedness guide for the zombie apocalypse. I'm just saying. That's a good one. That's going on there for sure. Going on the poll. Lee says the New Yorker is a Tesla tower. He worked for the government and they played him like a fool. You know, this is interesting, and I'm definitely doing this topic, whether it wins the poll or not. This is coming up because Paul is definitely onto something here. I watched another special on this New Yorker hotel. It had a power station in it that could power the whole city. Why do you need so much power? That was personally for Nikola Tesla. I'm sure of it. And that's not all. It was connected by tunnels, underground tunnels, to other hotels where Nikola Tesla also had rooms and stored his research. You know, and if you look at his room at the New Yorker, it's very tiny. That's not where he did everything. That's where he slept, maybe. That's not where he did everything. This place was built for him. Marie wants me to read a little of Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. Do you guys want to hear a little of it? I thought everybody in this room had read it. Do you guys want to hear a little bit of it? I love reading, and I want to practice. I want to do more stuff like this, similar to whether it's audio work or voice work or something like that, where I can, you know, get closer to making this my actual job. So I'm always down to practice, and I have it pulled up right there. Elizabeth said, forecasters caution that 5G frequencies used can interfere with gathering weather data. Well, they're not going to be zombies. This is my prediction. This is just, again, a theory of mine, but they're not zombies. The zombies are a metaphor. Whenever you see these zombie apocalypse movies, it's a metaphor. And what they're really talking about is the brain dead masses. That's why they're seeking brains. They're brain dead. They don't think for themselves. They're idiots. They're going to come panicking and freaking out. Their whole world's getting ready to crumble. You got to remember, you're aware of it, I'm sure, that everything they believe is a lie. Literally everything, which was the expressed mission when the CIA took control of the media, to make sure that everything everyone believed was false. So their whole world's going to crumble. Their entire idea of reality is getting ready to shift. They're going to panic. That's the zombies. So I don't know. I don't know if that changes anything for you, but it does for me. But I'm an empath, and I'm very caring of people, too caring, really. I don't know that I could blow their head off. I don't know. But I've never been in a me or them situation before, especially a me or my loved one situation before. So Jessica or Marie wants to hear me read it. I'll read it here in a minute. That's what we'll do to close us out. I'll read the beginning part. I don't think I can do a better tribute to it than Will Cooper did, but we'll try it out. Paul says you'll need a health pass in the future to use their technologies. You'll need a health pass to do fucking everything, and a social credit score. You'll be on a UBI. That's where we're heading. That is where we're heading. Then it says it'll be more real than you think. They will be programmed to attack us. I'm heading for the countryside. Oh, I get what you're saying. You know what? That's interesting. You ever seen the movie or book, The Cell by Stephen King? Then in that book, he talks about the frequency being used to manipulate the people and make them zombies. So that's interesting. I think he's connected, this big club that we're not in. I think he's one of their court jesters. He's got a little inside information, just like Orwell and Huxley had. I think King is involved as far as predictive programming and stuff like that goes. Joan's going to live in a cave when shit hits the fan. Babels wants to be traveling badasses. We're going to be wandering badasses like Daryl and Carol from The Walking Dead, just kicking ass around the countryside. I guess that's our future. Paul agrees that they're going to be used to hurt us through frequencies. I believe it. Lisa says that zombies are equal to liberals. I can't argue with that. They're brainless for sure. Aaron says, I've already seen ads for tracking social credit scores, determining if you're a good citizen or not. This shit's going on. This shit's happening. It's happening at a rapid pace, too. They are attacking us. Look. Sorry. Let me go ahead and I'm going to read a little bit of Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars to take us out, because we are under attack. We are in a war. This is a silent war, and this is what they're using against us. This document is old. This was found on a copier, and before they realized, I guess, that documents were stored when something's copied, but it was leaked. I think on purpose. I think they did it on purpose. I think they always do it on purpose. But this is from this document. I'm just going to start at the very beginning. This is the introduction. So it starts with security. It says it is patently impossible to discuss social engineering or the automation of a society, the engineering of social automation systems, silent weapons on a national or worldwide scale without implying extensive objectives of social control and destruction of human life, i.e. slavery and genocide. Now, this manual is in itself an analog declaration of intent. Such a writing must be secured from public scrutiny. Otherwise, it might be recognized as a technically formal declaration of domestic war. Furthermore, whenever any person or group of persons in a position of great power and without full knowledge and consent of the public uses such knowledge and mythologies for economic conquest, it must be understood that a state of domestic warfare exists between said person or group of persons and the public. And the solution of today's problems requires an approach which is ruthlessly candid, with no agonizing over religious, moral, or cultural values. Now, you have qualified for this project because of your ability to look at human society with cold objectivity, and yet analyze and discuss your observations and conclusions with others of similar intellectual capacity without the loss of discretion or humility. Such virtues are exercised in your own best interest. Do not deviate from them. Historical introduction. Silent weapon technology has evolved from operations research, a strategic and tactical methodology developed under the military management in England during World War II. Now, the original purpose of operations research was to study the strategic and tactical problems of air and land defense with the objective of effective use of limited military resources against foreign enemies. And it was soon recognized by those in positions of power that the same methods might be useful for totally controlling a society, but better tools would be necessary. Social engineering, the analysis and automation of a society, requires the correlation of great amounts of constantly changing economic information or data. So a high-speed computerized data processing system would be necessary, which could race ahead of the society and predict when society would arrive for capitulation. Relay computers were too slow, but the electronic computer invented in 1946 by J. Presper Eckert and John W. Mauchly filled the bill. The next breakthrough was the development of the simplex method of linear programming in 1947 by mathematician George B. Dantzig. Then in 1948, the transistor, invented by J. Bardeen, W. H. Brattain, and W. Shockley, promised great expansion of the computer field by reducing space and power requirements. And with these three inventions under their direction, those in power strongly suspected that it was impossible for them to control the whole world with just a push of a button. And immediately, the Rockefeller Foundation got on the ground floor by making a 4-year grant to Harvard College, funding the Harvard Economic Research Project for the study of the structure of the American economy. And 1 year later, in 1949, the United States Air Force joined in. In 1952, the grant period terminated, and a high-level meeting of the elite was held to determine the next phase of social operations research. The Harvard Project had been very fruitful, as is borne out by the publication of some of its results in 1953, suggesting the feasibility of economic social engineering. Now, engineered in the last half of the decade of the 1940s, the new quiet war machine stood, so to speak, in sparkling gold-plated hardware on the showroom floor by 1954. With the creation of the maser in 1954, the promise of unlocking unlimited sources of fusion atomic energy from the heavy hydrogen in seawater, and the consequent availability of the unlimited social power was a possibility only decades away. And the combination was irresistible. Now, although the silent weapons system was nearly exposed 13 years later, the evolution of the new weapon system has never suffered any major setbacks. And this volume marks the 25th anniversary of the beginning of the Quiet War. And already this domestic war has had many victories on many fronts throughout the world. political introduction. In 1954, it was well recognized by those in positions of authority that it was only a matter of time, only a few decades, before the general public would be able to grasp and upset the cradle of power. For the very elements of the new silent weapon technology were as accessible for a public utopia as they were for providing a private utopia. The issue of primary concern, that of dominance, revolved around the subject of the energy sciences. Energy is recognized as the key to all activity on Earth. Natural science is the study of the sources and control of natural energy, and social science, therefore, theoretically expressed as economics, is the study of the sources and control of social energy. Both are bookkeeping systems. Mathematics, therefore, mathematics is the primary energy source, and the bookkeeper can be king if the public can be kept ignorant of the methodology of the bookkeeping. All science is merely a means to an end. The means is knowledge. The end is control. Beyond this remains only one issue. Who will be the beneficiary? Well, in 1954, this was the issue of primary concern. Although the so-called moral issues were raised, in a view of the law of natural selection, it was agreed that a nation or world of people who will not use their intelligence are no better than animals who do not have intelligence. Such people are beasts of burden and stakes on the table by choice and consent. Consequently, in the interest of future world order, peace, and tranquility, it was decided to privately wage a quiet war against the American public, with the ultimate objective of permanently shifting the natural and social energy, wealth of the undisciplined and irresponsible many into the hands of the self-disciplined, responsible, and worthy few. In order to implement this objective, it was necessary to create, secure, and apply new weapons, which, as it turned out, were a class of weapons so subtle and sophisticated in their principle of operation and public appearance as to earn for themselves the name silent weapons. And in conclusion, the objective of economic research as conducted by the magnates of capital, banking, and the industries of commodities, goods, and services is the establishment of an economy which is totally predictable and manipulable. In order to achieve a totally predictable economy, the low-class elements of society must be brought under total control. They must be housebroken, trained, and assigned a yoke and long-term social duties from a very early age. Before they ever have an opportunity to question the propriety of the matter, in order to achieve such conformity, the lower-class family unit must be disintegrated by a process of increasing preoccupation of the parents and the establishment of government-operated daycare centers for the occupationally orphaned children. The quality of education given to the lower class must be of the poorest sort, so that the moat of ignorance isolating the inferior class from the superior class is and remains incomprehensible to the inferior class. With such an initial handicap, even bright lower class individuals have little, if any, hope of extracting themselves from their assigned lot in this life. This form of slavery is essential to maintain some measure of social order, peace, and tranquility for the ruling upper class. Description, introduction of the silent weapon. Everything that is expected from an ordinary weapon is expected from a silent weapon by its creators, but only in its matter of functioning. It shoots situations instead of bullets, propelled by data processing instead of chemical reaction, originating from bits of data instead of grains of gunpowder, from a computer instead of a gun, operated by a computer programmer instead of a marksman, under the orders of a banking magnate instead of a military general. It makes no obvious explosive noises, causes no obvious physical or mental injuries, and does not obviously interfere with anybody's daily social life. yet it makes an unmistakable noise, causes unmistakable physical and mental damage, and unmistakably interferes with the daily social life, unmistakable to a trained observer, one who knows what to look for. But the public cannot comprehend this weapon and therefore cannot believe that they are being attacked and subdued by a weapon. The public might instinctively feel that something is wrong, but that is because of the technical nature of the silent weapon. They cannot express their feeling in a rational way or handle the problem with any intelligence. Therefore, they do not know how to cry out for help and do not know how to associate with others to defend themselves against it. When a silent weapon is applied gradually, the public adjusts and adapts to its presence and learns to tolerate its encroachment on their lives until the pressure becomes too great and they crack up. Therefore, the silent weapon is a type of biological warfare. It attacks the vitality, options, and mobility of the individuals of a society by knowing, understanding, manipulating, and attacking their sources of natural and social energy and their physical, mental, and emotional strengths and weaknesses. And that's where we're going to stop. That's from Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. That's the introduction. It goes into much detail on what they use against you, what exactly they mean, how they do it. It even goes into the math and science behind it. So I suggest you look at that. It's up in the comments on every platform. But thanks for watching, guys, and hanging out. Like I said, the poll will be up for our next video here in about 10 minutes. And then we'll be having a watch party if you want to come back and hang out or just say hi, stop by and say hi. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for rant night. Y'all have a great night. Enjoy the rest of it. I'll see you tomorrow.